If you look closely at it here, I did mention to the owner that okay, top end assembly time. There's the newly machined cylinder. Looking good, looking good. So, I am going to do something a little different with my camera. I'm just going to put it up here on the counter like this so I'm not tripping over it. Maybe just hammer down. There we go. That's pretty good. Okay, so the absolute #1 most crucial part to building an engine is piston ring end gap. I'll show you what that means. So here we have the piston. Okay. Where's the ring? Where's the ring? Here's the ring. Okay. Piston ring gap. If you have it bad, if you don't have enough gap, the ring end can butt and blow the top of the piston off. I still sort of think that's kind of what happened to this piston here. And if you look at it, you can actually see the two ends of the ring right here. See, this is a ring, this is a ring. You see how it sort of butted there and then it pushed this up? So I think when I put this engine together, maybe I was in a bit of a haste and I forgot to check the ring end gap on this one and I paid the price for it. But you see how it distorted that ring? So it hit the ring ends touched and it pushed the piston and blew the piston apart. So this is extremely crucial to get this gap right. And I believe what it is, what the spec is, for each inch of bore, you need 4/1000ths of an inch of ring end gap. It's a pretty good looking ring. Okay, so we're going to take the ring. I'm going to put the ring in the cylinder. Now, note, rings have an up and they have a down. So if you see right here, you can see some markings right there, some writing. That means that the ring goes up. You flip it over, see there's no markings on the bottom of the ring. Markings always go up on the ring. So I'm going to put the ring in the cylinder. I'm going to take the piston and I'm going to push it into the cylinder evenly. Like that. Now what I want to be looking at is right here. The ring end gap. Right there. See where the two rings come together? I want to measure that gap right there. So I'm going to have to look in the book and I'll come back with some specs. Okay, I was wrong. I was close, but I was wrong. But if you read here, most piston ring manufacturers recommend a minimum end gap of 4,000 inches times bore diameter. So, per inch of bore diameter, you want, yeah, I was right, 4,000. So for a 4-inch bore, you want 4 times the 4-inch. So, with that theory, we are going to check the bore and then find out what the ring gap should be. So I did some more digging and I found what it needs to be. So if you look right here, it says piston ring end gap right here, standard. So we want, holy crap, you want 13,000ths. So if you look at that, it says 0.0138 to 0.217. So the service limit would be 33,000ths of an inch. So what we want is we want 13,000ths. We don't want any less than 13,000ths because then when it gets hot, the ring ends are going to butt together and it's going to blow the piston apart. So anything over 13,000ths is good. Anything over 33,000ths is not good. Not good. When I took this engine apart, I measured it. It was about 50,000ths. And that was why the compression was so low. And keep in mind, the tighter the ring end gap is, the more compression you're going to get. But that's what I'm going to look for. Right there. 13,000ths. So I found my little feeler gauges here. Okay, let's see here. Where can we... Yeah, you see that? It says 0.013. So I want 13,000ths. Minimum 13,000ths. So I'm going to take my feeler gauge And I'm going to put it right up into this gap here, right here. And that is actually pretty good, pretty loose. But what I want to know is how big is that ring end gap? So why don't we go to, let's put a 24 thousandths in there. Well, that one's bent. Okay, well, let's see if we can get this one in here. 24 thousandths. 24 thousandths does not fit. I cannot get that, will not go in there. So, let's see how close we can get. 12, 13, 14. Let's put a 15 thousandths in there. And that is tight. So what you want with a feeler gauge is you want a little bit of you want it a little bit of drag. So that's a little bit. So I'm going to say the ring end gap is probably 16 thousandths, which is fantastic. 16 does not fit, so it is a 15 thousandths. So that means that this engine is going to be really healthy, and it has more than enough gap. So what do we do now? We are going to hang the piston on the rod. Piston's next. Okay, here's the fancy piston here. Check this baby out. Whew, this is a sexy looking piston. Yeah. Strange too, it's got a dish. So I don't know why they dished the piston. But something else I want to point out to you. Look right there. You see that arrow? Arrow is always going to point towards the exhaust port. On a dirt bike, the exhaust port is always forward. So if we look at the cylinder here, okay, we're looking at the cylinder. This is the exhaust port. Okay, the intake port is actually in the case. The intake port is in the case here, in the base. The exhaust port comes out of here. So you always want to point that piston that way because that's the way it's designed. And some pistons, when you look at the piston, they might have two intake ports in the piston itself. Like the Yamaha Banshees are famous for that. They'll have two intake ports. So you flip it around, well, you're not going to get the intake that you want. And you got to think, well, these two dots here have to be here for a reason, right? Yeah, for expansion. But yeah, okay, so I am going to put the pin in, put the clips in. I hate putting circlips in. It's not my favorite job. And I'm going to hang the piston on the rod. So I find that a lot of people have difficulty with doing this part. Ooh, let's sink in here. A lot of people have difficulty putting these circlips in. So you're going to keep the gap away from there. Okay, here's the gap. I'm just going to push this in the hole here. Right. I'm going to slide her down. Keep pushing with my thumb. Be very careful not to scuff the piston. So I'm going to click her into place here. Click. Then we're going to come along here and I'm going to push it in until it clicks. Click, just like that. That is one circlip installed. Okay. So, on to hanging the piston. So I always like to put one clip in and liberal coating. So I'm going to start the pin. Should be relatively tight. Yeah, there we go. Pin is started. And then I'm going to hang the pin on the rod. Pretty simple idea, right? Arrows forward. Put this in there. And I might have to put my big fat head in the way. And there we go. And push the pin all the way through. Just close. It's almost there. Not quite there. Just to go just a little bit more. Now I like to take, if it's tight, I'll take, I don't like banging on new things. Oh, there we go, just slid right in. Okay, that is in there. It's good. Now we gotta put the other circlip in. Hope this doesn't go flying across the room. I don't think I'd ever be able to find it. It's very important that you get these clips seated all the way, because if you don't, these clips can cause total engine destruction if they pop out without scoring up the ring. Okay, looking good, looking good. Can you even see? Yes, you can. And we're just gonna slide her into place. And I didn't hear it click. Did it click? Nope, not quite in there. It's close. Where's the gap? No, it's close, but it's not in there. Ah! Hear that click? Now it's in there. That's what I mean when people put these together. They think the clip is fully seated, and it's not. And then that poor bastard who put it together goes out for a ride. It just goes kablooey. Okay. Okay, and I gotta get this stuff off my hands. So now comes the easy part. Once we've got the piston on there, we're gonna come back here. We're gonna take the ring out of the cylinder, being gentle, and we are gonna hang the ring on the piston, keeping the numbers up. And if you see, there's a little bit of a notch here. The notch goes into a pin in the piston, and that prevents the ring from turning, because if the ring is going to turn, most engines, actually a good healthy engine, a ring is going to turn when the engine's running. As the engine's running, like a 4-stroke, like a car engine, free rings will make the engine run better and get better compression. The rings will spin. 2-stroke, we do not want the ring to turn, because then the ring is going to catch a port, an exhaust port, and it's going to rip the ring off and cause major destruction. So we're going to put the ring on without flexing and bending and pulling too much, and we're going to make sure it lines up with the little pin right there. Some people like to use a piston ring compressor. On these engines I won't. These are not that hard to get on, and you're not going to score the piston up too much. Yeah, just like that, right? So that technique is called rolling the ring on. You just roll the ring on and it's just fine. Okay, let me make sure that's all lined up. The gap is with that pin. Now, this part is important for me. The only other spot that I'm going to put some Honda Bond on any of the engine assembly is going to be where the case halves meet, where you have a gasket. So we got to put a base gasket on here. Now, some people like to slather this whole thing with this Honda Bond or Yamaha Bond or whatever, but then if you have to take it apart, it is just yuck. So first thing I'm going to do is take a rag and I'm going to clean all the residuals off of here. All the oil, all the bits of stuff. Okay, and I'm going to put, I can set this up like that. Yeah, well, I don't want it to be, yeah, maybe like that. There we go. I want it to be dripping. So I'm going to put a little bit of this, just a little bit to fill the imperfections in where the case halves come together. And when I mean a little bit, I mean just a teeny tiny little bit. That's it. That is it. Dabber. Dab it. Yeah, and that's it. Because remember, the machine surfaces go together and it's just going to squish out. Okay. We have a base gasket. Obviously the base gasket only goes one way. You've got your water port here. So we're going to put the base gasket on like this. How's that camera angle? Kind of crappy. Okay. That is on there. See if we can change this a little bit. Now comes the fun part, where things actually start to come together. Take that out of there. We're going to take our cylinder, get a little bit of oil. We're going to lube up the cylinder with a bit of oil, top and bottom and all the way around. We want first startup. First startup is going to be really smoky, but the more lube we put in the engine, the better chance the engine's got. Oh, and you might be wondering what this is here on the side and these here on the top are. This is your power valve, which is run off of this shaft right here, and it's run off the governor on the inside. So you're going to look, and you're going to look right there. Let's see if I can stick my finger. You're going to look right in there. So when you move this, when the engine moves this, it opens that, see how it opens that port? See as I'm pulling this? So it opens that extra exhaust port. So it allows the engine to breathe more freely on wide open throttle. So as wide open, there's closed. And there's two of them, one on each side. Yeah, that's your power. That's called your power valve. Alright, let's put the cylinder on there. So we're all lubed up nice and good here. This part's pretty easy. Don't need a ring compressor or anything like that. We're just going to take it. I'm going to make sure that the ring end is in that hole, is in that spot. Right? Oh, that made it worse. Okay, I'm getting better. Is that better? Hey, there we go. That's better. And make sure the ring end is in that part. And then I'm going to squeeze the ring with my fingers. And we're going to slide the cylinder on. And it is just as simple as that. And just like that, it's on there. So, let's get this sitting locked down on the base gasket. Like that. Just like that. Just like that, right? And really, it is really that simple. Then I find my cylinder base. That's what I'm looking for right here. Yeah, here we go. Ooh. Yummy. Should probably clean these before I put them on there. Oh, those are the wrong ones. Those are for the head. Where are the cylinder basins? Ah, right here. I had grabbed the wrong bag. Here we go. That is awfully dirty for fairly good screws. Okay, take them. I'm going to clean them up. Each one has a washer and the nut. So we got 4, we got 1, 2. Now obviously you're not going to be able to get a torque wrench or anything in here. This is where working on these things for years helps out, and you get a feel of what a certain torque is supposed to be. Now these are, if you wanted to use like a crowfoot style, you can get like a crowfoot that you can put on your what? What is that all about? Alright, gotta take it off. Found something really quite strange that I never noticed before. Okay. Alright. One of the studs was actually out quite a ways, and I did not see it. So, this is what I'm doing now. I love engineers with the way they design stuff. And it's a nylock nut too. So I'm gonna run these all down, and torque is about 20 foot-pounds. Once again, it's all aluminum. You don't want to overdo it. You don't want to kill it. Just snug. Snug is good. Alright, cylinder's on, and she's pretty much torqued up. This is the part that I like. I'm going to put the Kickstarter on and kick it over and feel for any binding. And where did I put that? Kickstarter. Hello, Kickstarter. Ah, right here. Right here. Okay. This is where you're gonna know if something's wrong. Ooh. Ooh, that's so smooth. Ooh. Oh, that's gonna run so nice. Okay. Next up is the head install. So I just put a few extra things on there. Extra things. Put some stuff back on. Put the power valve cover back on. Put the shaft back on. Pretty straightforward. I put this other side on here. This is so you can inspect the power valves, make sure they're moving and stuff. And I think we're ready for the head. Ooh. Just gotta get the head studs in. Where's that box of stuff? Here. Here's the box of stuff. Head studs. Head studs. So this is that piece that the machine shop had to put in there. I believe he called it a nutsert. I kind of stumbled when I was trying to explain what it was. Don't have to be tight. Doesn't have to be, you know, god awful tight. It's snug, just like everything else. It's just snug. Gotta work on my camera angle a little bit. Try to get my hand out of the view so you can actually see what I'm doing. Okay, they're all on there. Mama brought me something to eat. Bacon wrapped asparagus. Ooh, delicious. Okay. So you do want to make sure these are tight or snug, and they're not gonna back off. But once you start torquing the head down, it'll all tighten up anyway. It doesn't have to be like super tight. You could probably actually leave these loose, and when you tighten up the head nuts, it'll tighten up against the base, and then it won't really matter. All right. I believe we are ready for a head gasket and a head. So technically you should double nut it to tighten these in, but I'm not putting a lot of force on there. I'm not over tightening it. So I'm going to take a bit of brake clean on a rag, and I'm just going to wipe it down, because this surface you want as clean as possible. And once again, no sealers, no RTV, no gasket maker. Let the head gasket do the work. You can wipe out a head gasket if you put RTV on it. You can destroy it. It won't do what it's supposed to do. Okay, looking good, looking good. All right. Wipe this grease and oil and stuff off my hands. Okay. Head gasket. Oh, multi-layered gasket here. Does it have an up and a down? It does not appear to have an up and a down. Put it that way, or you can. I guess there's only one way you can put it. Right? You can't put it this way. Nope, one way. Okay, down she goes. Bye bye, beautiful piston. Bye bye. And this wonderful head we had machined looks amazing. Looks amazing. So all told, he's probably got $1,500 into this engine. Okay, why does that not want to go down there? Okay, what's going on here? What is not sitting properly? Oh, there's a pin. Oh, okay. Okay, so there we go. That's all it was. Just had to sit down on the pen. So, just want to check and make sure we didn't break nothing there. Nope. It's good. Okay. Now our big mass of nuts to go in the head. Get a washer and a nut for each one. Washer, washer. Washer, washer. I may have to hunt down a washer and a nut for this one, because this is the one here that they had the bolt and just powered the bolt onto there. However, I do have quite a collection of nuts and bolts for these engines. So we'll just get her on there. Get her on there. Do 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 do. Be a really bad song. Okay, so now I'm gonna have to hunt down a nut. So in my colossal collection of stuff, I found me a nut and a smaller washer. Should go over that stud. Oh, excellent. And then my nut goes on there. And yeah, it's even the right size too. Fantastico. And it is not a 12mm, it is a 13mm. They are all 13mm. So like everything else on these bikes, don't have to go crazy tight on the torque. And in fact, you don't want to, because I never thought of this either, but if you over torque it, you're going to warp it, because it is just aluminum. So I believe, I could even look in the book, but I believe the head nuts go the same torque as the cylinder nuts, which is like 22 foot-pounds. Like practically nothing. Dun, dun. I had to change my ratchet. I hate that other one. It just doesn't work very well. Crisscross pattern, going around. I think this is something I am going to hunt down the torque spec for and torque it properly. But I don't know if you noticed, but you keep going around, you'll tighten one up and then it'll loosen everything else up. Okay, looking in the book. Alright, so once again I looked in the book. Internet is a wonderful thing. So it's only a year difference. It was 1990 and 1992 are all the same, and this engine is a 1990. So 91 KX 125 cylinder head nuts, 18 foot-pounds. Simple as that. And this is some forum, Kawasaki motorcycles.org, some forum. It's amazing the kind of stuff you find online. So 18 foot-pounds. So we'll just go right up to 20. Right, so that's 20, 19, 18. Back to. Okay, 18 foot-pounds. Head is one of those things that I will try to torque. Doesn't seem to want to click. Don't buy a cheap torque wrench. Oh, what's going on there? What is happening there? Why does it feel like it's getting loose? Oh, yeah, it's just going down. Uh-oh. I might have to find another nut. Okay, right on. I got lucky there. Sweet. Cool. Awesome. I think it's ready to go on the bike. Yeah. Okay, last thing we gotta do is we gotta put the reed pack in there. So that's this beautiful item right here. And I think it goes, it should go in there that way. Yeah. Nice and clean. Right on, right on. So like I was saying before, the only place I'm going to put this is the cracks where the two case halves come together. That's it. It is possible to get a leak, but it's it's possible, but it's very unlikely. So then this guy goes on here like a so. Right, and then reed pack. Just make sure it's all clean. Okay, so I got 4. Well, that should be enough to start it, I guess. Get it started in here. Oh, those are way too long. Holy smokes. Yeah, right. Now, so much mismatched hardware on this engine. I'm gonna have to hunt down some proper hardware for this thing, because that's no good. You can't have a whole bunch of these that are all different sizes. You're asking for something to go wrong. But yeah, I'm gonna hunt down some nuts, some bolts. I guess next video we'll be installing it in the bike. But looks pretty good to me. It's looking pretty sexy. It's all back together. Hell yeah. Amen. Yeah. Okay, there it is. It's all together. Now I gotta dig the bike out. Looking good, looking good. I'm happy with the way it turned out. Minus the mismatched hardware and stuff. It should be pretty awesome. Alright, next up, putting her in the bike.